Hi, it's Mark Bittman, host of Food with Mark Bittman. There are so many ways to save on quality items at Whole Foods Market every single day. So here's some hints for doing that coming into back-to-school season. 1. Check out the weekly sales at WholeFoodsMarket.com. Gets refreshed every Wednesday, so be sure to check then. 2. Remember to look for 365 by Whole Foods Market, snacks, salads, and more. 3, just walk the store and look for those little yellow signs that mention low price. There's one next to the responsibly farmed salmon right now in the seafood department. There are so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market, and now you know.
Get back to school ready at Whole Foods Market. The Best in Class event is packed with sales on organic seedless grapes, organic Honeycrisp apples, Applegate deli meat, and more. Start your mornings with 365 by Whole Foods Market organic frozen waffles and better than cage-free eggs. Then put dinner on the table with breaded chicken nuggets, savory swordfish fillets, and fresh salad kits. Make Whole Foods Market your back-to-school destination.
Hello, Egg Chasers. It's the Egg Chasers Rugby podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously, back in the rugby dungeon as we are 52 weeks a year. We're here. And if you appreciate the fact that this is your one fix of guaranteed rugby chat every single Monday morning, 52 weeks of the year, for 11 seasons, about to enter our 12th season of doing it. If you appreciate that fact, well, you can just subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and you can get more content as well. In fact, we've had a few good Patreon podcasts lately. We have some really... I've enjoyed them anyway. If you want more content, then patreon.com/eggchasers. It helps keep the lights on, helps show your support, and for pittance, for a fraction of a pint, you can go and get loads more content as well. So I invite you to do that. How you doing, JB?
Very well, thanks, mate. How has your week been?
I can't even think beyond today.
Why have you been busy?
In-laws and wife's family, sister and kids are all up, so we had a day trip out at Hebden Bridge.
Oh, very nice.
Walks, picnics, bimbling round charity shops and antique shops, all that sort of stuff.
Love it.
Eating ice creams, cakes and coffee.
Cakes, not so much, but everything else, good. Do you know the inverted city theory?
No, what?
So the inverted city theory says that Hebden Bridge is the second biggest city in the UK. And the way it's based is if you think about London and the size of Greater London, and that is, I don't know, was it 7 million people?
10 million people.
10 million people? Yeah. It's huge, right? Well, geographically, it's not that much smaller than, say, if you drew a line or a circle around like Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, maybe even get Sheffield in there. So, in terms of population, it's not that big. It's not that much smaller than London.
And the centre point for that is Hebden Bridge, is it?
Hebden Bridge, yeah. So rather than it all being sort of like combined into...
The northern powerhouses all conglomerate around Hebden Bridge.
Yeah, so if you just improved all the transport links around there, you'd have the inverted city.
Yeah.
Which I quite like, actually.
Yeah. Game on.
Yeah, there you go.
How was your week? How was your week? Well, you said week. I can't think of one today. What was your week?
Well, my week's been great. So... we trained really hard.
I was going to say, was any rugby involved in it?
Yeah. So pre-season's going nicely. The boys...
Good turnout?
Great turnout.
Excellent.
But we're currently trying to work out what we have in this squad, which is like the most exciting part for me. And also, we have no front rows, which also means you've got loads of front rows. So if anyone is like... we've got no front rows. That just means everybody has to play front row. So actually, you've got more options than you can shake a stick at. So at the moment, I'm forcing lads to play front row, left, right and centre. All the safety chat has dried up because you're not allowed to talk about it. It's not shut up. Just shut up. Go find a different club. Go find a different club that wants to look after your health and safety. And we've just been building scrums slowly, getting more game time. By the time we get to the season... it is my commitment to those lads that they'll have more live scrums underneath their belt than any other team in the league.
Love that.
We'll be fine.
The coaching at Manchester Met University as I do, one of the things I've said to a few of the lads that were leaving, well, I mean, I said it to them the whole season, but I especially said it to the ones that were leaving, graduating. But there was a couple of lads who were kind of that sort of slightly smaller, squatter, wider back row players. I said, you are a hooker, you're a prop.
Exactly.
Start doing it. Especially, I said, if you go out into senior rugby and you can scrummage, you're in.
You're in.
You're in.
Forever.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Forever.
I could have played such a higher level if I had have realised that I could have front row much earlier and just showed. I probably would have got a game at several levels, because there's just not many of us.
No.
There's just not because I'm any good, just because there's not many of us,
Yep.
and I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
And we had a lad. So we played an inter-club game. So what we did is, on Tuesday we trained like normal. Then we had an inter-club game at Didsbury Tock H.
Like possibles v probables.
Kind of, yeah. It's two completely mixed teams. And there's all sorts of chat about, we can't scrimmage, it's going to be uncontested. Like, forget that. All right, I have not come here to do uncontested. So we started the game with two refs, or a coach and a ref. So the ref would call the scrum in, and as I was coaching, the first scrum was like, we'll all form up, we'll address, we'll hit, but we won't put the ball in. So the scrum half will then go around the back and then pass the ball from there. Second scrum, we'll dial it up 5%. Third scrum, 10%. About 5 scrums in, everyone is fine. Even lads that have never played prop before start to become really, really fine. And before you know it, we've had something like, I don't know, we've probably got 18 live scrums in.
And probably if everyone's in the same boat as well, and there's a bit of camaraderie, you will get more and more competitive. But they probably started off going, I won't try and end you on this first one.
Yeah, and then
but 6 scrums in, I'll have a go, you know.
Oh, and towards the end, I'm like, you are getting done, you know. Buck up your ideas because it's embarrassing. And then, you know, particularly if there's an established prop, I would just keep telling them, you're getting hammered now, mate. It's embarrassing. All the starting back rows from last year as well. Just pulled. Do
you think anyone ever says that to Ox and Che or like Franz Malherbe?
They say it all the time.
Ox, what are you doing? You're getting. What are you playing at?
Oh, I bet it happens all the time. Like, mate, you looked a bit uncomfortable there. You okay? Do you want a bit of time off? So we had a bunch of our back row players who were very established last year. I pulled every one of them aside, regardless of whether they needed it or not. I just said, not be funny, but I thought you were outplayed. I thought the other guy did really, really well. So I want you to go out and, you know, I just made up something which I wanted them to do. And they went and did it. So there we go. We are rounding up nicely. It's not going to be a vintage team, but it's going to be a very good team.
Good.
Well, it's up to them how good they want to be.
Yeah, you're just there to facilitate.
Yeah, it's not up to me. It's up to them.
Nice. Oh, good. It's not nice. I'm glad you're back in the fold. Phil, you will have noticed no Phil currently. He is in the North Yorkshire Moors.
He is running up hills, I think.
Running up hills and doing all sorts of stuff like that. Probably with 2 children on his back, knowing Phil.
Yeah, so he'll dial in. If he sees our message, he'll dial in. If he can, if he's got Wi-Fi.
If he's able to, yeah. So hopefully we'll get a little dose of Phil. But we've got the Rugby Championship to talk about. A couple of great games in round 1 there. Well, one great game and one great performance.
Is that South Africa's? Or?
South Africa's was a great performance.
Okay. Or was that Argentina?
Argentina's was the great game and a great performance. Two great performances, one great game, one mismatch. But lots to talk about. And another one, I'm just going to float it here and we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, sure.
Is 2025 going to be the worst Lions tour?
Ever.
Maybe ever, or certainly since 2005 when Clive Woodward did his best to end the Lions.
Yeah, that was a bad one, wasn't it? I wonder if it'll actually raise a different question. Is Australia a suitable Lions location?
Quite. How much do you fancy?
Argentina.
A lot. Yeah, with like midweek game against Uruguay, midweek game against Chile. In fact, oh my goodness, that's a great idea,
isn't it?
Midweek game against Chile, midweek game against Uruguay.
USA, anyone? On the way there?
Midweek game against USA.
Canada, anyone?
That, now you're talking.
Yeah, there's loads of games. So that is, and also the future, as we've said multiple times, or I've said, or we have all said, seems like it's Latin America. In South America, it seems to be booming.
Spain, Portugal, Argentina doing really well, obviously, but Spain, Portugal, Uruguay emerging, and Chile.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
And Brazil are bubbling under a level below.
So I think that would be, I mean, that to me makes more sense. There's more nations. It's just, why bother going to Australia? Except, I mean, the coffee's good.
I've never been to Australia.
Apparently,
I hear the coffee's good, especially in Melbourne. They're like very, very particular. You'll get this. Is what I hear from a friend of mine who lived in Melbourne, grew up in Melbourne, and now works in the UK. And he said that you in Melbourne, you will find like there could be 2 coffee shops right next to each other, one with no one in, and one with a line down the street, because the small margins between a average coffee and a good coffee.
I would love to test this.
People would wait half an hour to get the good coffee.
Yeah, I would love to test this. I'd love to give them a bad coffee and see if they identify it.
Do you? There's one. That's one thing I wonder. Like with, we'll get back onto rugby shortly, but with like a great. I couldn't tell a amazing glass of wine from an average glass of wine. Other than if someone told me it was really expensive, I'd probably sip it and go, "Oh yeah, that one's great."
All I know is, do I like it or not? Right.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to drink a Diet Coke because I know I like that. I'm more than happy. If I drink some wine and it's nice, it's great. If it's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the price.
And I wonder if context is important to it as well, because like sometimes the little carafes of wine that they give you in the part of Greece that I go to, you know, when it's been a nice red wine, get a half a litre of red wine, coquino, and it comes in the little carafe, and you sat looking at the ocean, and it's been warmed by the sun. It tastes so much better. If you bought the same bottle of that from the supermarket, brought it back to England, and it was
out of a bag.
Oh, I use that to strip paint.
Well, there is something in that, right? So obviously your surroundings do matter. Also, the sounds matter. Do you remember when Heston Blumenthal used to, or Blumenthal used to?
I was going to say Blumenthal.
Yeah.
I like that.
Or Blumenthal, or whoever.
Blumenthal.
When he was a thing, he used to make people listen to the crunch, to like headphones to exaggerate the crunch of food. So ridiculous now, isn't it? So ridiculous.
Anyway, rugby. Yeah. So we've decided we're not touring Australia next year, and we're going to Argentina instead.
Argentine barbecues every single day,
Oh.
and the home of Javier Mele too. Wonderful stuff.
Oh, incredible! Yes. Right. Well, we might revisit that one a bit later on.
So I think maybe the best place to start here is the biggest takeaway, and it's not the rugby, is it? It's the performance of Australia and what has become of that nation.
Yeah, it's sad to see. I take no pleasure in that at all.
No, I don't either.
Because as much as I was just thinking of those Lions tours. 99, when it was 2-1, that Justin Harrison line-out steal at the end of the third test. And then 2013, the Lions won that one, didn't they? But, yeah, and I remember But Australia have always been a powerhouse. They've won 2 World Cups. Yeah. They've been to 4 finals.
Yeah, well, just on 2013, I think that's when the warning signs.
Yeah, you're right.
Were first really obvious.
Well, they had a great player in Israel Folau, and they decided just to ditch him.
Go on.
Ditch him. We don't need that generational talent. Let's just cast him aside.
But I think actually they had loads of what you consider great players. I mean, Curtly Beale was around, Israel Folau. I'm sure James O'Connor might have played 10 at the time. He was now back. In fact, it might have been James O'Connor's first start at 10.
Let's have a look at the team. How many of the Australian 2013 team can you name?
The backs will be all right. But the backs would be someone like what the hell's the name? Will Genia, James O'Connor.
Oh yeah, Will Genia. He was class.
Yeah. Maybe someone like Cora Betty.
Hold on, let me get to the test matches.
No, not Cora Betty. What am I thinking of? Kieran Drawny is the one I was thinking of at 13.
Hold on a minute. Where's the test match? Get there in the end. Keep firing names and I'll tell.
Izzy Folau definitely played on either, I think on one of the wings. I don't know the other two. But
Israel Folau right wing, yeah.
It could have been Digby Ioane.
Digby Ioane left wing, correct.
Yeah,
James O'Connor was 10 in that first test. Will Genia scrum half.
Yep, so we're... correct.
The centres were...
Karevi?
No, it was...
Adam Ashley Cooper.
Adam Ashley Cooper was 13 with Christian Lealiafano 12.
That's the one.
And then the pack... I mean, there's obviously one name you should get in the pack.
Hooper or Pocock?
Michael Hooper, yeah.
Yep.
James Horwill was the captain.
Big James Horwill.
Yeah.
Harlequin's James Horwill.
Yeah. Front row, Stephen Moore with his nose that was trying to escape from his face.
Yep.
Props were Ben Robinson and Ben Alexander. Kane Douglas was lock. Ben Moen, that's not a name I remember.
Ben Moen.
And Wycliffe Parlew.
Ben? Yeah, I don't remember him either.
No, Curtly Beale was on the bench, you mentioned him. Sokopi Kepu was on the bench. James Slipper was on the bench. God, he was there then.
Yeah.
11 years ago.
Yeah, so it's just... So here's the question that I would pose to Australia. Like, why have they wasted so much money on basically retired old men? And that's where they were with Jones. That's where they are now with Schmidt. I completely get Schmidt as a choice for maybe... sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
That's all right. I was going to say, go on, carry on.
I certainly get Schmidt as a choice for a very mature team, right? Where you've got all the best players in the world and you just want to win now. Well, Australia aren't that. I might even understand him as a coach for, the job he did at Leinster, where you're responsible for developing all those players coming through the system. But again, that's not really Australia. I mean, I think Australia had the coach that they needed, and Dave Rennie, but they're just not coming to terms with reality that they're not very good. They should have stuck with Dave Rennie all along, and actually they might have some cash now.
Yeah, but part of the reason, and I agree with you, part of the reason why they went for Dave Rennie is because that they identified that they needed more than a team doing well on the pitch. I think right now they would realise that was a ridiculous thing to think.
Yep.
And winning rugby matches is all that matters, fundamentally. But they went for Eddie Jones because they thought he would also do what Dave Rennie was doing on the pitch, but would help Australian rugby challenge the NRL and the AFL in Australia by getting ears and eyeballs on the sport.
But I mean,
now he did that, but the rugby went completely down the pan.
But if you want someone who can really do that, even better than Eddie Jones, Michael Checker. I mean, they had that. They had all the bust ups. They've already tried it. I think it speaks to the toxicity of the World Cup. So, going to come up with a new phrase now, new meme: World Cup toxicity. Right? Not the best, but the point is, people get so obsessed with the World Cup, they are willing to sacrifice basically everything. I think that's what Australia did. They sacrificed absolutely everything to gamble on the World Cup. Bill Sweeney did exactly the same thing, but his gamble almost paid off. So, yeah, I think we're going to see more of this, which is administrators just gambling for the World Cup.
You've just reminded me, how did I not think that was a story to tell? It's because it happened on Monday. Bill Sweeney. What? Let's talk about Allianz Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
That happened since our last podcast.
This is one of the things that doesn't upset me that much. I mean, I know it should upset me, being, a conservative in these matters, but you need to raise the money. Bill Sweeney, I can let him off for this. I mean, we all know where Twickenham is. We know what it is. Will it just be called the Allianz Stadium, or is it Allianz Twickenham Stadium?
No, it's Allianz Stadium, except for during the Women's Rugby World Cup next year when it has to be called Twickenham. Because that's World Rugby's rules.
Oh, right, there you go. Yeah, they do have weird rules. They do it in the World Cup.
Yeah, it's like no sponsors on the shirts. Stadiums, no sponsorship. So any sponsorship has to be paid for through World Rugby if you want any sponsorship during the Rugby World Cup, because they own that, not the unions.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
I do think it was. I mean, they've sold it for a lot of cash, and I get. Yeah, fine. Rugby needs cash. I suppose there's two things I would say there. Firstly is I would feel much more comfortable about it if I had any level of confidence that group of individuals would spend that money with any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that is the other side of the equation.
The track record on management of funds and allocation of funds and all the rest of it is not great. And I don't want to... what the heck? If a slice of this they went, do you know what, let's build up Championship Rugby, because we know we've underfunded them, but I can imagine what they'll do is now you're still not going to get any, but we're going to quadruple the amount of money we give the Women's Premiership.
And of course the men's senior team will get a good chunk of cash. Well, what will happen to this money inevitably is it will probably go back into the professional game as they're trying desperately to make the professional game compete with France.
Yeah,
and a lot more of that is going to fall on
exactly that. If this is a kind of a repeat in a different form of what the Premiership clubs did with the CVC money, not nearly enough of it spent on infrastructure that would actually be an investment for the future. If they go and say we're going to spend it on redeveloping the stadium, creating some more revenue generating elements around the stadium, I'd kind of go, that seems like a really smart move. If they go and spend it on trying to prop up the professional game because it can't afford to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Tim, I think we're talking about something which has already happened. I imagine that money's already been allocated many times over. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But just the principle of selling a stadium name is fine by me.
Principle of a stadium name's okay. I do think it being Twickenham and having that special that does resonate more than any other rugby stadium in the world. And
I disagree.
Do you not?
I love the Millennium.
Oh, no. I don't mean it's my favourite stadium. I mean it's the home of the country, which...
Yeah, okay.
Twickenham is the most famous rugby stadium in the world. That's what I mean. It's a spiritual home for the sport, and to sometimes just... I don't see why they couldn't have done what Murrayfield's done, where it's BT Murrayfield, or before that it was Scottish Gas Murrayfield.
Gazprom Murrayfield or something.
Yeah, or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, actually, because none of the Sanzor unions have a home stadium as such. Do they?
Don't.
There's no iconic stadium there. It's definitely not the Aviva Stadium. That's not iconic in any way.
Yeah, and that's probably the best example, because I remember when Lansdowne Road was redeveloped and they said they were calling it the Aviva Stadium. I remember so many Irish fans saying, I'm never calling it the Aviva Stadium. It's always going to be Lansdowne Road. And I'm sure there are a few who continue to call it Lansdowne Road, but it's the Aviva.
Yeah, it is.
Twickenham will be the Allianz in 10 years. Yeah. It will be.
Murrayfield's an awful stadium. Just awful.
Yeah, it's looking a bit tired now. Really tired.
And actually, the Millennium is looking a bit tired.
Technically, that's the Principality, but you're right. People still call that the Millennium, or at least it's 50-50. But it is changing, and it will be called the Principality. At least there's a bit of sense and thinking with that sponsor and Wales as a country.
Not even the French really have a... I mean, Stade de France is their stadium.
Yeah, it is.
But they do play away from that.
Oh, so. They played there during the recent Six Nations because they were getting the stadium ready for the Olympics.
But they do. They often play in Marseille.
Yeah.
In the autumn. Or somewhere else. So, I think that would be probably Twickenham, Millennium, two iconic ones, because they're the only full-time iconic homes.
Yeah. The RFU did consider selling Twickenham and buying a stake in Wembley. Wembley's, I would say there's an equal level of iconic status in the two stadiums. When you look at Wembley and Twickenham, they're in kind of the spiritual home of the sport. And Wembley has a sponsor. I can't even remember what it is, but it's the something. It's Wembley Stadium powered by EE or something like that. Powered by...
It is EE. Yeah, it is EE, yeah.
The Wembley Stadium powered by EE. And maybe that's the reason why you can't get nearly as much cash, because of what I've just said, that I can't remember what the sponsor is. But now it's going to be the Allianz Stadium.
Yeah, well,
thank you, BlackRock, for your cash.
Yeah, quite. So Australia, woeful. I can't even think of how to fix it. But some of the errors that they're making are not. I mean, not even because they're bad. I don't know. It just
I think some of it is because they're not bad players, but some of it is because they're not nearly as good as their opponents.
But you can be organised. And that's what I don't get. They're not organised. So the last try that South Africa scored.
That Kirtley Arendt's try. That was
disgrace.
Absolute disgrace.
This is where Wales actually do really well.
Yeah.
Because Wales will have worse players, but they'll be organised. Maybe that's what Australia need, actually. They need a guy to organise them. Now, in that case, maybe Smith is the right guy.
That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, but then who's that? I don't know. What do the Australian public want? Do they want all guns blazing rugby with points everywhere, or do they just want to be organised like a Warren Gatland Wales? Because I love that Wales team when they get it right.
There is the context here, of course, is that there were some players that were unavailable anyway, who would have made a difference. Taniela Tupu's father died, so he wasn't available. Fraser McWright is injured. Angus Bell's not fully fit yet, but will be back. Liam Wright's a good player. Marika Korobete could have played. But then there's a load of other players like Will Skelton, who are abroad and therefore aren't players. Samu Karevi is playing in Japan now, so he's not eligible. Or I don't know what the eligibility rules are, but the point is they could be a lot better if they had an approach like South Africa, which is go where you want. And given the state of the financial issues in Australia,
and it's working for South Africa,
wouldn't that be now what South Africa have done is had a kind of we accept the realities of the situation now, and then they've built this double World Cup winning team, which means that the whole country's behind it, which means that corporate cash is coming into it,
and they can
which means they can bring the players back.
It's incredible to see, isn't it? Like when you just got these huge names that want to come back, because I think the South African cash wants to pay for, like the South African corporates and sponsors want to pay for it. They want to pay for it, yeah. They want Khaleesi back. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but they want him back. They want Esther Hazen back. They want all these South African lads back because they're great, but it doesn't affect your team either. So did it make Damien Diolande worse that he was steeped in the culture of Munster? Probably not. I mean, that's probably a massive advantage. And you've got all of these world-class players all over the globe, and they come together to form this incredible team. And to think, like, the arrogance of the Welsh system, which is you must play for the Dragons and you'll get better somehow, is incredible. And to a certain extent, that does apply to Australia too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how much better they can get in a year, but they were. It's as bad as they've ever been. It's not worse than the World Cup, because that was humbling. And it was just there was good players, but no attitude. But like you say, there were still echoes of that lack of confidence in that Curtly Arendse try. Because as good an attacker as he is, that defence was unacceptable.
Yeah, I would have loved Australia to turn over the reins to someone completely different, try something completely new, because all they've done is handed it to a guy who's either retired or semi-retired. And it's just the treadmill of old coaches coming back into the game.
Give it to Nick Badger. Give it to Honey Badger, Nick Cummins, just for bants.
Anyone.
Just to boost morale.
Anyone. Have a massive interview process and look at absolutely everybody and say you can't be over 60. That would be my solution. Particularly, you're not going to win if you're Australia by doing what other people did, because you're not good enough. Right? So let's not pretend you're as good as Ireland or pretend you're as good as whoever it is. You're simply not. So you're going to need a completely different approach. I don't know what that approach is, but
it sounds like the start. It sounds like the start of a new season of Ted Lasso, though.
I don't even know what Ted Lasso is.
Oh, right, okay. You don't know what Ted Lasso is?
No idea.
Oh, okay. You don't know what? You have no idea. You haven't seen any internet stuff.
No, nothing.
American football coach with the moustache.
Oh.
Who does comes and coaches a British team.
Oh, does he coach Tottenham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think he did.
It's like
no, he did a little bit online where he was coaching Tottenham.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Yes, get some Ted Lasso.
Yeah, exactly. Any thoughts you've got? Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. How do you solve a problem like Australia? Should the British and Irish Lions swerve Australia? Should they go elsewhere? What should it look like going forward? The Lions tours. I mean, I think I'm right in saying, again, forgive me if I'm wrong on this, let me know. But I believe one of the things was the only reason the British and Irish Lions formed and toured was to spread the shipping costs on getting them all around the world.
Is that right?
And because they weren't good enough originally.
I love that. Spread the shipping costs. That is wonderful. I also love the fact that they had to receive letters that they've been selected. Letters in the post. The good old days.
Yeah.
That's enough of Australia, because I don't really care to talk about them that much more. Tell me about South Africa. Your boy played 10.
Sasha, what a boy he is as well. He absolutely shanked his first kick, but then kind of dusted it off. He's the real deal.
Is he?
He's the real deal, yeah. He made a break. And again, you've got to couch...
Is that the break they didn't score?
They didn't score. Villy LaRue absolutely butchered it. You've got to couch this with... They're playing Australia, who are at the worst they've ever been. So let's wait and see how he gets on when they play New Zealand in a couple of weeks.
Will they do that? Will they...
That remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if they'll just go back to a slightly more settled team.
Well, it wasn't unsettled. It was only... and this is what I quite like about it. And exactly as you've said before many times on the podcast, the best way to get the most out of new players is to have a very settled team and just put one or two players in, which is exactly what they did. They got Elrig Lowe at number 8,
yep.
Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu at fly half, and the rest of it was as you were. The only difference is that this lad, Ben Jason Dixon, who's like, bearing in mind how much you love Peter Steph-Toy.
Oh, yeah. I do love Ben. I do love Peter Steph-Toy.
He went back and played second row because of an injury to RG Sneeman, and so Ben Jason Dixon came in, who is basically a clone of Peter Steph-Toy.
Wonderful.
Just goes round ending people.
Love it. Love it.
They looked ominously good, and they're developing their game and playing a bit more attacking. And yeah, they look very, very good. As bad as Australia looked, South Africa looked exceptional. They probably should have scored a couple more tries at least, and will be disappointed that they let one in. So 33-7.
Yeah, that was with 13 men on the field.
13 men on the field.
13 men on the field. Australia nearly looked as good as South Africa.
For a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So, do they play the reverse fixture straight away?
No, the way it works now is you play 2 games back-to-back in one country.
Okay.
And then you host, and then you either and then if you've just hosted, you then go away. But if you've just gone away like South Africa have, you then host another one of the teams back to back.
Got it.
So you play one team only away, one team only at home, and then the final round of games, it's back and forth. So it cuts down on the travelling.
Got it.
Which is better all round, I think. I mean, and they'll alternate that each year, obviously. So this year, South Africa are playing in Australia. So next year, Australia will travel to South Africa, I assume. Or
33-7 at home.
Beat down.
Absolute beat down.
And not only at home, in a stadium that South Africa have lost the last 4 times they've played there. They haven't won there in years.
Do you know I said that I've had enough of talking about Australia? It's a lie. I haven't had enough of talking about Australia. Did you see the Australian breakdancing?
Oh my goodness. So just to put context into this as well, when I was younger, I had a friend who was kind of a scratch DJ. So
okay,
he could
not a really good DJ without a handicap.
Yeah,
like a golfer.
So he always used to correct me when I'd say a DJ because it was like, no, I'm a turntablist. So
okay,
he could proper scratch DJ. So anyway, he used to scratch DJ for breakdancers.
Interesting.
And so I've seen quite a lot of very, very good breakdancers. So I know how good they can be. What the Olympics served up was an absolute joke. The Australian competitor, the worst of all.
It gets funnier, you know.
The more you watch it.
No. It's not even the watching. The watching, I can't actually watch it. It's so bad. Like I really struggle watching embarrassing stuff.
The more you learn about Ray Gun, the funnier it gets.
When you start reading her story, it is unreal. And then, fundamentally, she's just not very good. Yeah. I mean, she's better than me. But she's still a 37-year-old lecturer
who looks like a salmon on the pier dying.
And I love the Australian. I sort of simultaneously love it, and it's so cringy, right? So on the one hand, I adore the fact that she did it because she looked so stupid. I mean, you've really got to.
She's the Eric the Eel of this Olympics.
Yeah, it takes some real balls out. I've got nothing but time for someone who decides to do this. And the Australian Prime Minister's words were absolutely spot on, which is, it's in the best Australian spirit to give it a go, crack on, give it a go. But then you look at the performance and think, this is delusional. I mean, what were the authorities doing letting her get there? And then you listen to the authorities, you think, oh my God, you could have saved everyone so much hardship. And it's all like, it was a male-dominated sport and she was locked in a room. Like, did someone lock her in there or did she lock herself in there? Because if someone locked her in there, surely your association's got something to answer for. Of course, she's a lecturer. Just the whole thing.
But the fact that the people the people that got the medals, because even have you seen the routines of the people that actually got the medals? They're not much. I mean, they're better, not much better.
Well, I just don't think that breakdancers go to professional associations, do they? It's not like weightlifting.
No, exactly. But this is it. So that's the issue I've got, is that you're going, yeah, that person ran 9.79 seconds. This person jumped 2 meters 6 centimeters or whatever. This person flapped around on the floor.
Well, yeah, and also it's not really an event it's got to be judged. I know there are judged events in the Olympics, right? But there's not a tangible way to win. It's not like you've just won the 100 meters. It's not obvious that someone has won. The whole thing was absolutely. I expect this will be the last time we ever see breakdancing in the Olympics, or breaking as it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
Just remarkable. But yeah, for the Australian official to come out and say she is the best woman that we have available in Australia now for breakdancing, I'm thinking, I bet she's not. But yeah, the more you read about her, the funnier it gets.
It is priceless. Where were we? What were we saying?
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand, Argentina. Did you see any of that game?
I saw the highlights only.
What a match. Yeah. What a match. Now, I tell you what, the honeymoon is over for Scott Robertson.
Oh, big time.
I was curious to see what the New Zealand pundits are saying, what the newspapers are saying. I haven't seen that yet. I'll have a bit of a deep dive into that over the next couple of days. But the reason I say that is...
Think they'll be happy?
Well, this is it. The honeymoon, I think he will have enough of a honeymoon and enough goodwill that he'll be able to skirt over this. But rest assured, if that performance had happened under Ian Foster, knives would have been out. They'd have gone for him. And there's some stuff that a coach cannot control, but there's some stuff a coach can control. And I think he shouldn't be immune from criticism and pressure. It is early days, though, so they'll give him another go. And I could also see, to be honest, New Zealand picking exactly the same team and just going out and cleaning up next week. Like mindset, Argentina it was like one of those cliches. They just wanted it more. And you could see that in the last 20 minutes. Augustin Crevi, 39 years of age, coming on and getting a try, a really important turnover, and just taking names for the period he was on.
Love it. Just on that, Argentina the most successful side in New Zealand, though?
Well,
they've done it twice, haven't they?
3 times. No, they've beaten New Zealand 3 times. One of those was during COVID in Australia.
But that counted as a New Zealand home game, and they locked in hotels, so they definitely get credit.
Technically, it's 3.
If anything, that's even bigger.
Yeah, yeah. And some of those players, have beaten New Zealand more than any other player on earth will have beaten New Zealand.
Yeah, I went. Is it Carreras that's done it 3 times?
Santi Carreras. In fact, got an email here actually. Thank you for reminding me. From Greg. Hi, Greg. Thank you very much for getting in touch. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. He said, just to point out, Santi Carreras has now beaten New Zealand 3 times.
Thank you.
Twice at fly half in New Zealand and once at fullback in Australia after being stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks. Not many other players can claim that except the Irish boys in the last 10 years. Why is he still not mentioned at all in any conversation about the top fly halves? And should he perhaps leave Gloucester for maybe a bit of French paycheck at this point?
Do you know why no one mentions him as a top fly half? Because he's not a top fly half, unfortunately. So he has these periods of absolute brilliance. There's no two ways about it. Like, he is a brilliant player on occasions, but when you start paying attention to him in Gloucester, you realise what you've got here, and he is very like sometimes he looks like a world beater. Like, kicks go over, absolutely ice cool. Other times, particularly in defence, he goes totally missing. And that's his problem. He's just
do you know
not
what?
consistent enough.
What I would kind of go along with that. And quite often, when he's been playing for Gloucester, it looks like a man who kind of goes and wins a game on his own, but then loses a game sometimes. Not loses it, but it can go wrong. What I was really impressed by from this particular performance yesterday, in that win against New Zealand, is at the end of the game, his kit was completely clean, and I mentioned that because this was one of those times where he did not try and run himself.
Yeah,
he just did all of the simple things really well. His tactical territorial kicking was really good. He waited in the backfield and received the kicks and kicked well. His goal kicks were good, and he just distributed really simply and let the other boys in the back line, because they've got some proper ballers. Chocobares is class.
Well, what would you...
Malia is ace. Yeah. Mateo Carreras, brilliant.
Well, I mean, Malia and Chocobares, they're double champions. They're double European champions. I mean, this is what happens when you let your players play anywhere in the world. Chocobares is thinking, like, who are these guys? I've already won the European Cup twice and the top 14. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. So they've got some magnificent players. It's just... Matera
was unreal. Their back row was amazing.
They can bang.
Matera, Kremer and Gonzalez is outstanding.
It is when
might be the best back row in the world.
It is when they're on the front foot. Kremer is the one which I worry about. Sometimes he's a little bit weak into contact.
But hold on, just take my point there. Name a national back row currently that's better than that back row.
I think South Africa put one together, but
they could put one together. But Elrig Lowe was their number 8 and has only just started. So it would be Sia Khaleesi and Peter Steph Toy.
Actually, I don't rate Sia Khaleesi that highly. But I mean, I think the point you're making is they are comparable, if not better, than most.
France would be Olivon, Francois Crowe and Aldrit. That's pretty good. Isn't it?
I mean,
that's pretty good.
I think it's the boys that they don't play. It's like South Africa, isn't it? It's the combination that they don't put together, which is absolutely terrifying. No, that is a great... there's no two ways about it. That is a great combination. But I do think that sometimes Kremer is a little bit... because he's so tall, he sort of leaves his body open to get absolutely leathered, and he does get leathered.
He usually does the leathering.
Yes. In
fairness.
But yeah, it's a cracking back row. Yeah, I wonder if half of beating New Zealand has just not really been that bothered about them.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
They say opposites attract. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is the best bed for couples. You like a bed that feels firm, but they want soft? Sleep Number does that. You want to sleep cooler while they like to feel warm? Sleep Number does that too. JD Power ranks Sleep Number number 1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed, plus special financing for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. See store for details.
Yeah.
Like, once the mystique's off, it's off. Once you've done it once, it kind of gets easier the second and the third time. And on the Scott Robinson point, the things I wonder is, Scott Robinson is not a company man as such, is he? Foster was. He sort of was
absolutely
ordained.
Yeah, well, exactly. And the way that New Zealand have done it the last few times is the new guy was working with the old guy.
Yeah,
but not the case.
No, and so he will undoubtedly will have some new ideas. A man like that doesn't come, and not have ideas. So it'd be interesting to see what he wants to achieve, what he wants the difference to be. But I wouldn't know. I don't pay nearly enough attention to New Zealand rugby to make those decisions. I am interested in what the press say, though.
I will look into it. But yeah, it was a really good performance. Brilliant again from Argentina. I can fully imagine. And again, talk about bad records. South Africa had a terrible record in Brisbane. New Zealand haven't won in Wellington since 2018. Before 2018.
How many times have they played there?
5 now, and they've lost 5 games in a row in Wellington.
So that must be Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland was one of them. That was the last time.
Argentina, South Africa,
Ireland. I think
it can't be England.
No, it wasn't England, and it wasn't Australia.
France, maybe. Did France do them?
Maybe it was South Africa and another Argentina one. I'm not sure, but yeah, they've lost a few there, so I don't know why they keep going back there. Because there was loads of empty seats as well.
Was there?
Which there won't be in Auckland.
Interesting. So who have New Zealand got next?
Argentina again in Auckland.
Oh right, I'm with you. Right, yes, I'm with you.
Yes, they play back-to-back games.
Yeah. Oh, exciting! I'll definitely watch that one.
Yeah.
I think we have a review from Talking Tribe.
Oh, yeah? Have you got it, personally?
It's on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, nice.
Found it?
Yeah, I got it here. Talking Tribe, good podcast.
Excellent podcast.
Go and check those guys out. Especially, well, obviously, more interesting if you're an Exeter Chiefs fan. I would highly recommend that. But good
or fan of Native American culture.
Or that much of a fan of rugby, you like listening to your opposition club's pod. In which case, whatever the case. Anyway, thank you guys, appreciate it. So, retrospective on 2023-24. Firstly, a lot of us had big concerns. 12 frontline, mostly Champions Cup winning squad were gone. And the loss of Hill, Skinner, O'Flaherty the year before. But it was a season of 2 halves. The first half, smashing Saracens, smashing Sale, a bunch of hyperactive kids running around high on red Smarties and ending the year in first. Yeah, they were top at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That win in Toulon cemented that it was not a fluke. That was such a special moment. The Hugo Monnier debacle took some of the gloss off, but I'm sure we'll find out what happened at some point, right?
Well, right, because that case has been to Magistrates Court last month, and I can't find anything about it. Anything.
Really?
It was meant to be heard on the 24th of June, and there seems to be nothing about it. So, I'd just say, don't worry, I will definitely be finding out.
Okay. Second half of the season was a sugar crash.
Sorry, July, 24th of July. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, no worries. Second half of the season was a sugar crash, complete loss of form, only picking up again for Quins at the end of the season, where Harvey Skinner cemented his place as the greatest fly half to have ever played the game.
Yeah.
Right, so despite everything, it was a massive over-delivery, considering the average age over the season is 24 and 22 and a half if you exclude Slade, Yendall, Seo and the other old men over 30. Wow. The other big positive, filling out Sandy Park several times at full capacity, controlling the budget, having a scrum again, in big part due to Ross McMillan and the defence settling in.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see that they are within sort of budgetary limits. The more they can fill out Sandy Park, the better.
Greg Fisselau, Zach Wimbush, Ben Hammersley, and of course, Manny Faye-Waboso. They were all expecting to play Bucks this last season.
Some lads have got off very lightly because Exeter have recruited those boys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be some massacres in Bucks.
Yeah. And Ross Vincent had a great year as well. He did, for club and country, playing for Italy. Signings for the new season, Tamati Tua, or Tamaiti Tua. Who knows? But good if so. No one really knows. Will Goodrich Clark, big strong boy.
That's a great signing because he so badly beat up the Leicester scrum in the Premiership Cup. I mean, he really was. I mean, maybe this is kind of the point that you make continuously, Tim, about the value of the Championship. I mean, I don't think Goodrich Clark could have gone to any other club to keep up his rugby other than Ealing. Because there's nothing else out there. But I expect him to be very, very good for Exeter.
Yeah, hopefully. Jimmy Roots is not that big, but apparently a psycho who loves the contact. Rob has been seeking out another centre and missed out on Hunter Paisami and Ruben Bird Tulloch. Still, we might have Tamaiti Tua from Brumbies. We're not sure yet. We only find out about signings by looking at pre-season Instagram stories and seeing people we don't recognise. In retrospect, it seems to be a response to Henry Slade being missing for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. Yeah, that's a shame.
Injured.
Yeah. Loads of players are gone, including, did you notice, Ollie Devoto to Taunton Titans?
I did, as a coach.
Yeah. Well, a wide-ranging role, kind of a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Things to look forward to this coming season, not playing Glasgow in Europe for the first time in about 6 years. More time for the very young team to gel. More Frankensteining of young kids into big, strong boys. People not going on about Vincent being a pizza delivery boy. No, they'll still mention that.
Nope.
Consolidation of the financials. Tom Wyatt's return from injury. Hodge passing the ball. The Welsh players being happy playing in a team that doesn't lose everything. The blitz maturing. The continuing curse of players who leave the Chiefs not winning anything. How is it going at Montpellier, Sam Simmons?
Yeah, so, well, doesn't it just tell you, kind of a bit like Saracens, I think, that the genius is in the club, not necessarily in the players there.
Yeah.
They're very good players. I'm not trying to disparage anyone, but they haven't done what they said they would do when they've moved clubs.
Dave Ewers at Ulster.
Who?
Yeah, quite. Now he's on. Now he's off and on to Stormers. The emergence of a good batch of Bucks and Academy lads. Who will be put on the naughty step? Hodge and Frost kept each other warm on it last season. Concerns: the loss of form was alarming. Henry Slade is out for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. The number of Sunday matches, I haven't seen the fixture list actually.
No, I've not.
The line-out wasn't great at points. If David Jenkins can master line-out calling to go with his physicality and shithousing, he'll be world-class. There are still nagging concerns at 10 with Harvey Skinner loving to smash rucks and shithouse Marcus Smith more than playmaking and kicking sticks. The club not being great at communication with the fans. Russi Tuima disappeared for 2 months from the squad and we still don't know why. Injury lists are never discussed openly and we find out about signings from Instagram.
Well, I think there's so there's a few things there. First of all, they did get rid of a very good media guy. There.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they got rid of him or
no,
not.
It's not.
He's not there.
Yeah, he's not. They removed his position.
Yeah, so I don't know, but a very, very good guy.
Yeah, he's just a good guy as well as being very good at his job.
So there might be something in that. I don't really mind clubs being a bit secretive with injuries. I mean, I would like to know where the players have gone for 2 months, just missing for 2 months. That would be useful to know. But do you have to know?
Yeah, I suppose if you actually flip it round, yeah, of course, if I was a fan, I would love to know. Especially if I was doing a podcast on a club, I would love to know. Yeah. But if you just put yourself in the position of the people at the club, imagine how much they have to do in a week and how difficult it is to tick everything off. So I can see it always. Ones to watch, Will Goodrich Clark, immensely exciting as a replacement for Abeladze.
Has he gone, has he?
Yeah, he's gone.
Where?
Yeah.
France? Must be France.
I didn't see.
Yeah, I like him.
Oh, hold on a minute. To Montpellier. Yes.
Well, good luck not winning.
Yeah. Yeah. He is a very good. Yeah, that is a miss for them. Paul Brown, wing, big strong boy.
Never heard of him.
No, nor me. Joe Hawkins needs a big season and to kick on for his massive potential. Will Hayden-Wood may appear this season a bit more. He had knee ligament injury last year, which derailed him. Mm-hmm. Manny Faye-Weboso continuing his journey to godhood.
Yeah, he's special.
He is special. British and Irish line next year?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. We start at home versus Tigers, then away to Saints. The big target to lay down a marker for the season is at the Stonex in round 3.
Yeah, that's going to be a fascinating game. So, yeah. I mean, is there much more in this review before I give my...
Final comment says, in the Champions Cup, a very difficult group. The Sharks in South Africa, Toulouse again, but at home. Bordeaux at home, Ulster away.
Well, you want a seat at the top table. There you go. You've got it, boys. You want to prove that.
Sandy Park home to Toulouse, Sandy Park home to Bordeaux. I mean, that's great, isn't it? That's great. Even if that's all it is this season, that's great.
And it's one of the few English stadiums, I think at least, and fan bases that can hold a torch to the top 14. I mean, it's not there yet. But in terms of the passion, the noise, Sandy Park is good. So, yeah, I'd fancy him against anyone there.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the ultimate bit about Exeter is they're just in a good place. I think the salary cap management has been absolutely wonderful, as has the talent ID. And you marry those two things up, as we spoke about on the podcast before, it gives the Chiefs options to not only re-sign players for a long time, but also let lads go. Who is working, who's not. They can basically keep their entire squad for a prolonged period of time, which hardly anyone can do.
Yeah.
As soon as you get good in the Premiership now, you're basically going to go. Or as soon as a team is good in the Premiership, it gets disassembled. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited for what Exeter Chiefs are going to do this year. I do still think there's going to be an element of immaturity, though.
Yes. And Henry Slaby announced a big one. Their midfield, yeah. I mean, you can equally see that they only have to be. It was a World Cup year, wasn't it, last year?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they benefited at the start of the season from that. All those internationals not being there, and them having had a long pre-season together with all those youngsters. Yeah, and how do all the youngsters fit into being a professional? I mean, being a professional for your first 6 months of professionalism is somewhat easier than second year now. There are expectations. Yeah. When Toulouse show up or Bordeaux show up or whoever it is that you're playing, or they're talking about going to Stonex as if they're going to win it. That's now the new expectation. The pressure's on them to perform, whereas I don't think last year it really was. It's like, well, let's just see what these kids can do. Mark Abrams also emailed, and I won't repeat anything he says. It's a short email anyway, so I'll just pick out a couple of things that he says. Contact EggChasers@gmail.com, also on Exeter Chiefs. He makes the point, echoes the point of Tribe Talk that Sandy Park was absolutely bouncing at the end of the season. Hopefully that can continue. A new shirt sponsor, although looking awful, I haven't seen who it is. He says, a new shirt sponsor, although looking awful, is a great sign that all the stuff that caused the rebrand is behind us and we can attract investment again. So poor old Tony Rowe can relax. Nice. And not spend any more of his money. Yeah. He also mentions Capstick, as well as Fisselau, Vermeulen and Vincent. I mean, yeah, back row, they're going to be pretty good. Yeah, very good. Being under the cap means long term we can keep the team together, and they were significantly under the cap, if what I've heard is accurate. Yeah, I've heard between 1 to 2 million. Like we're 1.5 to 2 million under is what I'd heard. That's crazy. Which means they can keep that group together. Yeah. Top 6 pushing top 2 season after, but strapping for some scrum porn is what Mark says. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. I'd love Exeter just to dominate everyone at scrum time. Yeah, just be the ultimate set piece team. So we've done Northampton, we've done Saracens, we've done Harlequins and Sale, and we've done Exeter. I've got Bath here. Oh my God, is there a chance that we might actually get them done before the season starts? I think we might, yeah. Spin them off like we do most years. So it's contacteggchasers@gmail.com for any of the remaining teams. I'm just thinking who we need. Leicester Tigers. Yeah. Gloucester. Maybe we just get the Leicester Tigers general manager on to tell us. Leicester Tigers, Gloucester, Bristol and Newcastle. They're the 4 we're going to have left, isn't it? After this.
But we're not going to do Newcastle. Or we're going to do Newcastle for fun.
If a Newcastle fan... Hello? Are you there? Newcastle fan, hello. If there's a Newcastle fan that would, I'd love to.
Steve Diamond.
Dimes. Send your email in. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. This one from Lawrence. Thank you, lol. Loz, the Bath fan. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. He says, gents, pod, mothers, not my wife, blah. If you're still missing a Bath preview, here's a few notes. It's easy to look at last season from the outside as a sign Finn Russell, everything's good. As a sign Finn Russell, everything's good season. The reality from a Bath fan's perspective is different. We've splurged on star fly halves in the past. Butch James, Stephen Donald, George Ford, Danny Cipriani, to name but a few. Basically begging them to fix us. The difference here was there was a foundation to build on. I know JVG comes across as a bit monotonous and cliched in the media, but his deeper interviews, check out the Bath Rugby Plug show on what that Bath fans love. Yes, good lads.
Very good lads.
Yeah, good lads.
A whole story about how that podcast set up over a conversation in Madrid. So there you go.
Indeed. An incredibly detailed memory, respect and focus for the game, and far more importantly, a clear vision for how to play and build a team, both of players and coaches. Last season was an overperformance against plan, and a lot of that was down to Finn and Lee Blackett improving the attack. If Sale didn't make top 2 because of a lack of try bonus points, Bath absolutely did. 16 bonus points in 18 game season is remarkable. That wasn't 16 try bonus points, though, was it? I mean, even losing and getting a bonus point is... 16 bonus points full stop in 18 games is... Yeah, that is impressive.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Really impressive. They had a solid European performance, beating Racing and Ulster at home. Remember that 2 years previously when they finished bottom of the pile, losing 43-27 to Worcester and hadn't won a game in Europe for something like 6 years? A man down for 60 minutes. They were one missed tackle from winning it all. They managed to, kinda, go under the radar in terms of their improvement. I guess Finn pulls focus. This season is different. Bath are a well-rounded team. There's been no major departures, only Matt Gallagher to Treviso. Ross Maloney and Jacques Duplessis add nous and beef in the second row.
Ross Maloney from Leinster.
From Leinster, yeah.
And
smart signing, that.
Yeah, Jacques Duplessis.
Jacques Duplessis.
Yep.
The depth at tight head, Thomas DeToy, Will Stewart, Archie Griffin and the lad Seller as well.
That's a joke.
I know.
That's a joke. I mean, of those guys, the England starting tight head, if that's what he is probably, well, he's not displacing Thomas DeToy anytime soon.
No. And the back row, Hill, Underhill, Pepper, Reed, Bayliss, Barbary, Kutsia, before you even get into the emerging players, is frankly nuts.
It is.
Another year of Finn and Blackett should improve the attack further. There are potentially 1 or 2 questions. 1, who backs up Spencer? More importantly, even than Finn, the drop-off from Ben Spencer is huge.
Yeah.
Is key.
So
I would add, and is huge.
I used to think that Louis Schroeder, or however your name say it, it's not Schroeder, is it? It's Schrader or something ridiculous, was a very, very good player. I don't think he's nearly as good as I originally thought. I mean, when I saw him in Newcastle, I thought he was one of the better players at Newcastle. Damning, I guess that's damning with faint praise. But, yeah, they're right. Ben Spencer is so far ahead of him.
Second question. Can the back 3 evolve? Muir and McConaughey are solid, but ageing. Thokanasinger is up and down more than insert your euphemism of choice here. Tom de Glanville is back from injury. Regan Grace could be very exciting.
Regan Grace.
Yeah.
That is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I really dislike the comments on Will Muir. Will Muir is basically a god, as far as I can see. So, Will Muir, absolutely amazing. McConaughey I've not seen for too long. He's been injured for so long now that he might not come back the same player. So I wouldn't bank on him at all. Cokanasiga. I have been so harsh on Cokanasiga for years now. Completely overrated, overpaid, hasn't produced until this year. I thought this year was his best year he's ever had. And so I think that point which has been made about the inconsistencies probably holds, but he has been more consistent and he's been far better. He actually looks like the player that they thought he was 5 years ago or whenever he first arrived.
Yeah. He says, I'm really looking forward to seeing Sam Harris, who could be incredible at 15, or even usurp Orlando Bailey in backing up Finn Russell. And point 3, Hooker and number 8. Dunn and Annett are solid, but not a lot more. Barbary and Coetzee could be spectacular, but often carded or fade out of games. All of which is to say, other teams have some element of rebuilding. Bath should finish top of the league. Bath should win the Premiership. In JVG we trust.
Yeah, the hooking is interesting. Annett is a backup, isn't he? I like him. He's a backup. Dunn is a very good club hooker. You know, I have no issues with him starting most games. I think they should be a little bit more grateful for his presence. The back row, they've absolutely nailed it. Coetzee plays on anger, like just enthusiasm and anger, and he does fade because he's not a massive bloke either. I think. Well, I mean, I'm going to get this horribly wrong now. But what is he, like 6'2", 100 kg?
Yeah,
like that. He's not big. So as soon as that aggression level falls, he's just not as effective as he otherwise would be. And Barbary, I've said in the past that he's like a bit of a peacetime 8, but then he's had some pretty impressive performances. So I think he might come good. I think they might be all right.
Yeah, agreed. I've just remembered Alid. Sorry, so yeah, there's 4 teams we still need. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. And I was going to say, yeah, we've got a couple of things. One, firstly, I forgot about this at the Olympics. I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the Australian breakdancer. There was a great literally moment. We got one for
wonderful.
We got one for the literally files.
We've got the French Michael van der Vleuten and Christian. We've got the French favourite, last to go.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say this is the equestrian, the show jumping.
Favourite, last to go. The atmosphere in the arena. I mean, when he jumped clear yesterday and went into the lead, the crowd went literally insane.
Wow. Literally insane.
Literally insane.
Christ, that must be difficult for crowd control and whatnot.
Yeah, in fact, I've got just a couple of reminders of some of the other ones. I think, is this one? Oh, no.
Dave Flatman.
No, sorry.
6 guys streaked naked across the pitch, and Dave Flatman got so angry, he literally killed this one guy.
Still not been brought to justice for that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, is that the evidence is there?
If David Flatman had tweeted about maybe killing someone, he would have been in jail.
Gone, dead. Literally dead.
Literally dead.
Literally jail.
Literally jail. And I was going to say, Alan Walters has gone to Ireland.
Great signing.
Yeah, that's interesting signing though.
Yeah, he likes Ireland, literally.
Well, yeah, but him and Steve Borthwick have got history together. It's just, it's a very interesting move, that.
Well, allegedly, the RFU wouldn't stump up for him, and he has one of the most impressive pedigrees in the sport at the moment. He is the hottest property. I'm going to make a prediction here. It would not surprise me if Aled Waters becomes the first strength and conditioning guy to become a head coach.
Ooh, interesting.
Because everybody wants him. He's won stuff with Munster. He's won stuff with South Africa. He won the Premiership. Steve Borthwick says about him, if you ask Steve Borthwick who is his best coach, he will say Aled. Is it Waters or Walters? Waters.
Waters, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Waters. But yeah, I think he might become...
Well, that sort of ties a little bow on your conversation the other week when you were talking about assistants getting big jobs. None of them would. Maybe Alan Walters goes from S&C coach to head coach.
Oh, I'm certain of it. I mean, we've seen the elevation of defence coaches, haven't we? I mean, defence coaches are all the rage. Andy Farrell was, not an all-round coach. He was a defence coach.
Could that be a Peter Principle thing, though, like being promoted above your level of competence? Actually, he's smart because he's the most in-demand S&C coach. He will get the most amount of buck for doing that job.
There's definitely an element of that. However, right, he does all the programming and whatnot for the players. Did you notice when BC Sport did the pre-game interviews, it was Walters who was doing the scrimmaging? So he's obviously doing a lot more than just the S&C. And he doesn't do any S&C himself, as in he doesn't watch the bench press. So all of that is delivered by, well, it wasn't Tigers at least, by the team under him.
Interesting,
isn't it? So great appointment by Ireland. They should be very happy with that.
And I think with that we're probably done, aren't we?
Yeah.
Can't think of anything else.
No. Did you see any of the CrossFit Games? In fact,
I saw the clips on the internet of the horrific and tragic start of the CrossFit Games.
that's unbelievable, isn't it?
If you're not sure what happened there, someone drowned in the opening event.
I mean, it was so ridiculous. Just put this into context, right? I think CrossFit are guilty, aren't they, of being complacent. They just think these guys are super athletes and there's no danger. If you can't do it in a box, it shouldn't be in the games. Like, I don't know a single box which is linked to a large body of water.
I'm just helping anyone that's not CrossFit.
Sorry.
By box, JB means gym.
Gym, yeah. If you can't do it in the gym, it shouldn't be in the games. And also, if you're going to swim, do it first. That's why triathletes do it first, because it's dangerous. So if you're going to swim in an open body of water, don't do it after you've just done, sprinted 5K. Do it before that. And the last thing I'd say as well is, why not use a pool? An open body of water is dangerous. It's a different thing altogether. But someone will be getting highly sued for that, I imagine, because it's inexcusable.
Well, yeah, and also when you see that there were safety boats either side of the buoy that the person was swimming past.
Yeah.
They were right there.
With no flotation.
Well, obviously not enough of them. There was no hats on. They had no flotation thing.
Yeah, it's a shambles. Absolute shambles.
I haven't seen any of the rest of it. Did they carry on doing it?
Well, no idea. So, even though I'm an enormous CrossFit fan, I've not seen any of it this year, which tells you everything you need to know, really. But that's, mixed with the Olympics being on at the same time. I mean, I have been obsessed by watching the Olympic weightlifting. I've seen every event now except for the women's 102 plus kilogram category, which I'm going to watch straight after this on record. So why do I need to watch weightlifting in the games? It's just not going to be that exciting, is it? Have you seen the weightlifting?
It's incredible.
I just can't get my mind around
it. The explosivity of those people. The power that they generate is phenomenal.
I can nearly lift as much as some 49 kilogram women now.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. I'm a 105 kilogram man, and I cannot lift as much as some 49 kilogram women. It's just amazing.
That is incredible. How many times body weight are they lifting?
Good question.
Like what's the best clean and jerk?
Oh, so
like 49.
I think they were getting to around the 130 mark.
So they're at like nearly 3 times body weight, over 2.5. Well, about 2.5 times body weight.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's incredible. And then the men, the 60, I think it's 69, 59 or 69 kilogram men. I can't remember what the category is, but they were just immense.
So that is, to put a bit of context on it, that is about the size of Cheslin Colby.
Yeah. Now, one of the things which has been bothering me, there's 2 things which have been bothering me recently, okay? One is national colours, right? Where do these national colours come from? Some of them make perfect sense. Example, Nigeria. When Nigeria play any sport, they're in green and usually white. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
It's obvious. It's on their flag.
Yeah.
Right? Italy. Why are they in blue?
I know.
Really annoys me that.
I'm sure there's an answer for that. I'm sure we've asked that when we talk about Six Nations.
France.
Hold on a minute.
Obviously, all of their colours come from the...
Hey, Google, why do Italy play in blue in sports? Italian sports teams play in blue shirts rather than the colours of their national flag. It's a custom dating back to the country's pre-Republican days. Blue was the official colour of the Royal House of Savoy. And this tribute to the Italian monarchy survives today.
Do they still have a king? No, it was a republic.
No, it's a republic, yeah.
So that's
the term is So the football team are also known as Azzurri, which means the Blues.
So that'd be one. What's the other example that I had? Like the Dutch are always in orange. I know there's reasons for this, but surely can we just stick to the flag?
Has that got something to do with the House of Orange? That was the British monarchy thing.
William of Orange, or something. But there's so many examples of countries in colours which are not on their flags. I don't think should be allowed. You have, I mean, you know what? GB are pretty good at this. It's blue, white, and red.
Well, do you know what? Interesting, because I was thinking, I can't remember. One of the people in an interview, a GB medalist, mentioned the UK, and I went, "Oh yeah, the UK. Why is it Great Britain?" And also the phrase "Great Britain and Northern Ireland" is like, and what's the UK? And
yeah, UK is slightly different, isn't it?
And I suddenly went, I was thinking UK and Northern Ireland, Great Britain, what? And then I went, hold on, Rory McIlroy played golf for Ireland, but he's from Northern Ireland.
Yes.
So basically, it's UK is the political term that is the sovereign nation, politically, and your passport says UK, obviously.
Yeah.
But Great Britain is just the island, not including Northern Ireland.
Oh, is that right?
And Northern Irish athletes have the choice to play for Great Britain or for Ireland. They get to they choose.
I wasn't sure Great Britain was both islands, but it's not.
No, it's just the landmass that is that England, Scotland, and Wales are.
Well, the other thing I was thinking of today is I was looking for new CrossFit shorts, and I've given up buying CrossFit shorts, so I'm going to go back to wearing rugby shorts because they fit better. So I went on to Level Rugby. I was looking in the sales of because you can pick up rugby shorts for like £15, and the only shorts which were for sale there, in the sale, were Scarlets. I was like, I will never wear Scarlets. And then I thought, are there any rugby? So when you're buying rugby kit, obviously you want it to look nice, right? But the brand, I think, is important. I couldn't wear drag. What brand? What kits could you not? What brand could you not be associated with? So there are certain designs I don't like. I don't like the Leinster blue, so I wouldn't wear that.
What brands couldn't I be associated with?
As in rugby-wise?
Biarritz. I'll never wear the team that's my rivals to my beloved Bayonne.
At least Biarritz are cool.
They are cool.
They are cool. There's nothing cool about the Dragons. I couldn't wear Dragons. I couldn't wear Newcastle.
Dragons is just horrible kit, just generally. They've always had quite bad kit.
Yeah.
The Newport days was cool.
Yeah. I don't think I could wear... I possibly could wear Ospreys, but I couldn't... Scarlet's are just not a serious entity. Cardiff is quite historic. I don't mind Cardiff so much.
You see, I probably wouldn't wear Wales or Scotland or Ireland, just generally.
Clubs. No,
just nations. I wouldn't wear the national team shirt.
I wouldn't wear any nations except for France. I'd definitely wear French kit. French kit and Italian kit. I'd definitely wear
Argentinian kit as well.
And Argentinian kit and Georgian kit. But I wouldn't go any further than that.
As you were talking about that, I was like, I got rid of, years ago now, a massive bag full of rugby socks. I loved rugby socks. I used to collect them. I used to have, my Argentina rugby socks were my favourites. But
I've got some Argentina rugby socks from your brother.
Oh, there you go.
He sent me loads of kit.
Yeah.
Or did he give me the kit?
Oh, I might have given it to you, yeah. Was that when he toured with English counties?
Yeah, I've got that, and I've got some weird bits and pieces.
I miss all my rugby socks. Like training, I used to get excited about which pair am I going to wear today.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at all the shirts here.
Yeah,
I got so excited about what shirt shall I wear for training today. I had 50 odd shirts.
I know. World moves on.
Yeah. So so I've decided that Saracens is a no. I just don't like the branding. I have nothing particularly wrong with Saracens. Bristol Bears is a no.
Leicester Tigers until they improve their kit.
Yeah, but the badge is still cool.
The badge is cool.
Not the badge, but maybe the I love Northampton Saints kits.
Old kits, not new kits.
I've got to say,
it's not as bad as you would think.
It's not as bad as I think or thought, but I like the colour scheme. Bath kit is Bath kit is still the pinnacle of all kit.
Bath kit is ace.
I'd wear Exeter because they're so cool. But their kit isn't cool. But I would wear it. But no, Bath kit is still the absolute pinnacle. Bath, Racing, even those
Quins?
Sometimes they get it wrong. So they just do silly things. But a classic Quins kit is class. Toulouse,
yeah,
epic. Clermont is still pretty cool. I mean, the French are sport for choice.
Yeah. And I like the way the French go. You either have ones that do it in a really classy way, like Racing and Toulouse, like you say, and there's ones that just go, let's be garish and get as many logos as we can on the kit. And just have all sorts of clashing colour schemes.
Well, I used to love Stad. I think that's a bit passé now. I think all the pink, all that stuff, it's kind of in the bin.
Perpignan's is cool.
Perpignan, yeah. The burgundy.
The Perpignan have the red and yellow socks.
Yeah, but they have a change kit which is burgundy and it's awesome. They've always had that
Bordeaux's quite nice. Yeah, no, there's nothing I would not wear. But anyway, so you didn't get any shorts? You didn't manage to find any?
No, I tell you the kits which look sensational, or the NRL ones.
And they have nice shorts as well.
They do. They really do. I was looking at some of the kits on Level Rugby, who should be sponsoring us for all these shouts shout-outs, actually. And the NRL kits just look spectacular. To the point that I really want to get one. But as a grown man, you can't have replica kit. You can wear the vests and you can wear the shorts.
Final bit of rugby news, actually, as we're talking about different sports. Lewis Rees-Zammit.
Yeah.
He padded up and played for the Kansas City Chiefs in a pre-season game.
Good for him.
Part of the second team, really, and he did a few things. He had one snap running the ball, which he made 1 yard. Got tackled well. He made one tackle as a chasing on the special teams. He kicked one from the tee for a kick-off, and that was basically the grand sum of his contribution.
So hard.
He's not going to make the roster, but just to be there in his pads, turning out in a pre-season game is no mean feat.
It's just so hard to get touches on the ball, isn't it? Just getting onto the field for game time to be seen is so difficult.
Yeah. What's mad is on the run that he did as a running back, he didn't look fast.
Did he not?
Well, just everyone's so quick and so explosive. But it's just you expected to see Lewis Rees-Zammit, massive, really quick feet, but it's just like, oh, no.
But that's not the kind of player he is, though, is it? He's more of a top-end guy.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I think receiver would have been better for him. But that's such a hard position to play.
So he was played as special teams kicker, and he didn't have a punt return. He didn't have a kick return, which I expected to see him do. Or did he? No, I don't think he did. I think
long and short of it is being fast in the NFL is the minimum requirement. It's not a spectacular achievement to be really fast particularly in the Chiefs.
I'm sure he's having a great time and cleaning up.
Yeah, which is the most important thing.
His Instagram DMs will be blowing up. That's all that really matters. Right, we're done.
We are.
Phil, I hope you're well. Hope you're all right, Phil.
Phil's done a sterling job today. Fair play.
Yeah. Patreon.com/EggChasers for more content. Hit subscribe wherever you are and let the boys end.
Bye-bye.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And is all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/pack for free shipping and 365-day returns.
We all have dreams. Dream home renovations, dream vacations, or sending our kids to their dream colleges. But finding straightforward ways to turn those dreams into realistic goals, that's where things get tricky. Merrill understands that. That's why, with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. And having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill is with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Need new glasses or want a fresh new style? Warby Parker has you covered. Glasses start at just $95, including anti-reflective, scratch-resistant prescription lenses that block 100% of UV rays. Every frame's designed in-house with a huge selection of styles for every face shape. And with Warby Parker's free home try-on program, you can order 5 pairs to try at home for free. Shipping is free both ways, too. Go to warbyparker.com/covered to try 5 pairs of frames at home for free. warbyparker.com/covered.